What's up, everybody? Jordan Stewart here from Vover. Thanks so much for tapping into the Vover original show. Just a reminder that if you want to drop your opinions about the episode or respond to the host and guests with your voice, go and download the Vover app wherever you get your apps. Vover, voice over everything. Enjoyed the show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a new episode of Can I Steal You for a Minute? Vover's Bachelor/Bachelorette show. With me, as always, is someone who I've never kissed in the rain, my wife, Karen Cruz. How you doing?
Is that true?
Yeah, because we're both prefer the dry.
Well, I guess that's our first question here. Is kissing in the rain as romantic as it looks?
So
Greg's
wow.
date
Yeah.
at the end. So she did all the Seattle stuff, which was cute. Have you been to Seattle? I've been to Seattle.
I've never
I
been to
must have gone
Seattle.
for work without you.
Yeah, I've never been to Seattle. But look, that date, so it was funny because you and I were having the discussion during their actual date where the dating on this season specifically just seemed more normal, if you will, because they're confined to one
Realistic,
space.
less lavish.
Right. There's no like helicopters and shit just popping up. But as I'm finishing that thought with you, then they manufacture this downpour of rain that's supposed to emulate how it rains in Seattle. First of all, Seattle people, let me know. Does it downpour like that? Like in a end of the world film? It was a little wild. So to get back to your question, was it romantic? Hell no. That shit looks like a cesspool for pneumonia. And look, we're just getting out of, well, knock on wood, trying to get out of a pandemic. The last thing you need is to be sick and kissing another human and passing on germs.
I disagree. I think it is as romantic as it looks. I think that there's just something about being so close and...
But what about the aftermath? Like then you're just
But
both...
I think that's just taking off your clothes. How is that not romantic?
Well, all right. Well, now we're getting a little too spicy. We got to tone it down a little bit.
2-year-olds in the other room.
I'm out. I'm out on the kissing in the rain. But I mean,
You just don't like water.
I also don't like water very much. I like a good shower. That's as far as I'll go with my...
Would you kiss someone in the shower?
Well, now we're just getting into this podcast is turning X-rated. But in the rain, I am out. I'm completely out. You know where I'm going in the rain? Indoors. At the very least, an umbrella. Like, can we just not be reckless out here? It's 2021. We've
But you
acquired
also
enough
have to
knowledge
understand that
here.
it's Arizona. It was hot, so it was probably super
It's not Arizona.
refreshing.
It's New Mexico, and we don't know actually what season it's in because they're wearing a variety of...
There's been a lot of sweating.
Well, but also a lot of big coats at night. So it's a very strange
I think it
situation.
was refreshing and romantic. Next question. So we covered Greg. I can't believe we only have 3 people now, but we're going through as many people who were in this episode. Was Andrew's face, the moment that Katie ran down the stairs, the best moment in Bachelorette history?
So from my perspective, it was really good because it seemed genuine. A lot of these so-called reality TV show moments just seem so manufactured, right? Where it's like, oh, this was set up by the producers or whatever. That moment on his face, it genuinely looked like he had no idea she was coming and he was ready to go home. And obviously, like, it seemed kind of contrived because the camera was following him still, but I'm assuming that's just part of getting that B-roll and that footage in case something does happen like this.
Yeah.
So that being said, I'm a little newer to this universe than you are. So was that the best moment in Bachelorette history?
It was pretty damn good. I can't think of a better one right now. Speaking of Seattle, Sleepless in Seattle, all these other amazing rom-coms. I mean, that was a end of the movie, chasing him down the airport, like, moment. That was, you really felt something. And obviously because of how much you felt for Andrew, I don't understand why she let Andrew go, especially in relation to Justin, who she doesn't seem to have as close a connection with. But clearly she made a mistake. That was obvious. I think it was really unfortunate that happened because when she said, is there any way for you to stay a little longer? We talked about this for a while. I thought that if she had said, I made a mistake, please return, he might have said something different. But when she said, is there any way for you to stay a little longer? That brought back all these memories for him about, I don't want to just stay a little longer because then we have to say goodbye again. It was just unfortunate that they weren't able to continue, because I think if they had had more time, she clearly had a connection with him. There's no other person on this season that it would have ended the way that it did, running down the stairs trying to catch him.
Yeah, I mean, I was with Andrew, and I kind of understood his not wanting to go back because she didn't choose him, right? This was just
I
a
completely
reaction.
understand that, but to cut you off real quick, I just think that you can't write a note that says, when you change your mind, I'll be waiting.
Right, no, but his response to that was when she was like, would you stay a little longer? And he said, not in this setting, right? Basically, I can't be in this space because...
Did he say that specifically?
Something along those lines. He just, it was that hotel now just had too many bad memories, and literally the sight of that rejection and knowing that he might have to go through that again. Like, why
it's like
not
when
have
Lucas
her
proposed to Peyton? It's just a failed
Sure.
proposal.
It's a One Tree Hill reference for the uninformed.
I'm
But
sorry, everyone should.
I totally understood where he was coming from, and then even I know this is not one of your questions, but I did want to ask you this. So we're gonna fast forward a little bit to the Men Tell All show. She didn't seem that excited to see any of them. Did you get that sense? She was just...
They're never, like, why would you be excited to see a room full of exes?
Well, I understand maybe like Carl and like that guy, Cody, I don't know, the other jackasses on the show. But like, wasn't that excited to see Michael A? She seems still kind of pissed at him for leaving, and it wasn't that excited to see Andrew. So I was a little thrown off by her reaction to
Men
them.
Tell Alls are just awkward. And this one especially, with just a number of the woman coming down and giving Connor a kiss. That was very awkward, I think. I read somewhere that someone suggested that Andrew and Michael are the next bachelors together, and whoever's not on a date is babysitting James.
That's weird.
I just thought it was really funny,
That's
which leads us to our next question. Was Michael being selfish coming on the show in the first place?
Coming on the show in the first place. Wasn't expecting the back half of that question. I mean, when you apply, I don't know. So walk me through this. To get on the show, do you have to apply, or can someone apply for you?
It can be either, but of course at some point you have to agree.
Sure. I mean, I don't know if selfish is the right word, but like, I'm not going to pretend to understand that type of loss or, process why or judge his decision making in that moment. Because it's like, when you do lose someone, I mean, he might have just been of the mind of, why not? Like, let's try something different. And to his credit, I mean, he was kind of right. He probably underestimated the importance and how much he would miss his son and vice versa. So I think he didn't think it through enough if he knew that, it was going to be this difficult. I don't know if selfish is the right word, though. Are you leaning more towards the selfish thing?
I think it wasn't a calculated risk. And I think as a parent, you have to take calculated risks. I completely understand and empathize with trying to find a new love for not just himself, but for James. But I think that there are so many other ways besides physically leaving your son for months.
Sure.
To find. I've been dating you for 16 years, so I'm not going to pretend to know how easy or not it is to, use dating apps and different things. But I would imagine that there are ways.
Pretty easy, actually.
Okay, great. I imagine there are ways to find a significant other where you're not physically leaving your 4-year-old. So it didn't sit well with me. I mean, obviously it sat well with me that he went home, but to get to the point where we were talking about this because our 2.5-year-old will go to grandma and grandpa's for a weekend. And I was really curious at what stage she would have a FaceTime with us and say, do you not want to see me anymore? Yeah, if you're a first time parent, you have no idea the time length of that, but I miss our daughter in a day. Of course he was missing his son in 2 months. And I just think before you even go on the show, that it's probably way too much time apart.
Yeah, and again, I think that's more so what this comes down to is, did he think it through enough? And clearly he did not. And I don't know. Again, I still feel like Katie was really upset with him, as opposed. I think she was trying to do the nice person
I
thing.
would be upset too, but it also didn't make sense. Like, we couldn't fly James out. We couldn't fly Michael home and back. We couldn't, like, we were so close. Top 4 hometowns. We couldn't have made something work. It just didn't really make sense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they loved it for the drama. And like, The Bachelor and Bachelorette always seems to love a good unexpected departure, right? So I think this.
It was just so unfortunate, though, because Andrew already should have had a hometown.
Right.
And now there were only 3 hometowns. What a kind of a weak top 3. Clearly, I've said this for weeks. I think that Blake will win, which I'm not thrilled about. I think it's just the whole chase. He's the only one who says, I'm not in love yet, but it's inevitable. So I think unfortunately, people in this show tend to pick the person that they're chasing as opposed to the person who seems head over heels. And Greg is, the preview showed that he's about to get super jealous. He's about to get super insecure. And I think she's going to choose Blake, and Greg is going to come in second. And Justin and her, to me, still don't really have much of a connection. So it's really just 2
weird.
people at this point. And if Blake wins, I would much rather have Greg be the next Bachelor than Blake, but I would still root for Andrew first and foremost as the next Bachelor.
Yep.
I don't want Michael A to be the next Bachelor. He has a 4-year-old kid. It doesn't make sense. I wish him the best, and I hope he finds his next person. You hate that term.
I hate that term so much. Never refer to me as your person. But look, let us know what you all think. 3 big questions I think that we've been pondering ourselves over the past 2 weeks of The Bachelorette and Katie's journey to finding love. And we'll find out more in the next coming weeks.
Last question. What would your drink be? At every group date,
Oh.
they all have customized drinks.
Yeah, old fashioned. 1,000%.
Wow. I really thought you were going to say Moscow Mule.
Well, then
Just a little lighter.
Then you're standing out a little too much with a different mug and the copper cup. You just want to fit in. What are you drinking?
Again, something light like an Aperol Spritz.
Sure. I want it to be classy enough where it seems like, oh, I drink a lot, but not too much. And you want a little buzz during one of these evenings, but you don't want to get too trashy. And beer just makes your breath smell weird. So out on the beer, which a lot of these guys were doing throughout the season, by the way. Super ballsy. But hey. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us on this edition of Can I Steal You for a Minute? And we'll be back next week. We'll talk to you soon.
See you then.
Peace.
Vover!